Okay, all right. Today we are going to be talking about securing the bag. But before we do that, I'll introduce myself really quickly. My name is Jana Hurd, and I am a financial professional. I work with Thrivent, which is a financial firm located. My office is located here in Houston, but I work with clients all around the United States. So today we are going to be talking about securing the bag. Last week we talked about budgeting. So if anybody wants a copy of the budget analysis sheet, I have some of those I can provide. And so today we're going to be talking about what happens when you actually get a job. What are some of the things that you should be expecting as you get an employee benefits package? So that's what we're going to be focused on today. And mainly really talking through what are some expectations once you get that package, what you should be looking for, and what's important to you. So whenever you get a job, a lot of companies, not all, some will provide, a benefits package, or what we call employee benefits package. And within that package, you will find things that will help you kind of compensate or either part salary or just giving you some perks for working at that particular company. And so your benefits package is something that will provide you additional perks for that company, but then also just different things that you can use in your personal life. So we're going to talk about some of those things and some things to look for with your benefits package. All right. So with the benefits package, sometimes it's non-wage compensation. A lot of times you find a combination of things. So some of the things that you might see in a benefits package are health insurance, dental insurance, life insurance, retirement plan items, sick leave, a fitness plan. Sometimes some companies will even have a fitness plan for you, child care. These are some of the things that you might have included in your benefits package that helps to enhance your employment or compensation that you're receiving from that company. So as I mentioned, here are some of the key ones. We're going to go through some additional ones, but we're going to talk about some of the key things that you should be looking for. Of course, health insurance. That's really important. It can be expensive if you have to cover that on your own. Paid time off. So your vacation time, you want to make sure you are figuring out what that is and that you use all of it, because a lot of times with vacation time, if you don't take advantage of it, it's use or lose it. Also, disability insurance, life insurance, retirement packages, and then a lot of times there is some benefits that have some legal mandates around it. So we'll talk about some of those. And then we'll talk about some other potential additional benefits, some additional perks that you see sometimes now. All right, so health insurance is, of course, one that you want to make sure that if you do have it offered, that you take advantage of it, because health insurance can be very expensive. But we have to remember, as we work through figuring out what our health insurance is and what coverage we have, there are some legal mandates now around health insurance. So now with Obamacare, which started when Obama was in office, there are some mandates from the government that are legal for companies that have 50 or more employees to provide health insurance. So if you're at a company with 50 or more people and they're not providing any insurance, they actually have a legal mandate to do that. So there are some different things that you can learn about the types of insurance that you can have, high deductible plans versus low deductible, et cetera. But the key to remember is that with your health insurance plans, if you're at a company that has 50 or more people, they legally should be providing something for you there. So that's something that you can make sure you talk to your financial advisor about, or make sure that you ask your internal HR about. All right, so disability and workers' comp. So this is another one that has legal mandates around it. A lot of people, they just don't take advantage of their disability because they don't realize that they have the option to have disability insurance. So If you find yourself in a situation where you're not feeling well, even if you've had a child, any type of situation where you're not feeling well, maybe it was the cause of your job, it doesn't even have to be, it could be something that happened at your home, you could still take advantage of what they call sick leave or sick paid leave, disability leave. So as you review your employee packages, you want to make sure that you look at what's offered and take advantage of it. Because again, just like with the vacation time, a lot of times this is also use or lose every year. You get a certain number of sick days and they don't roll necessarily to the next year. So this is something that if you are not feeling well, to take advantage of your disability and or workers' comp, depending on your situation. So another key piece. So we've talked about a few of the key pieces of your benefits package: health insurance, your paid time off, your disability insurance. The other key piece to think about is your life insurance. Most companies offer you a term life policy. So with the term life policy, as you are working, that is the term of the policy. So your term of hire is the term. So if you work for the company for 1 year, your that policy is worth that 1 year or is valued for that 1 year or can be used in that 1 year. So a lot of times when we're working with people and if they've been at a company for 20 years and they've been paying into a term life policy, a lot of times they feel like, oh, well, I've been at the company for 20 years. When I retire, I'll have life insurance. No, the term of your work time period is the term for that policy. It expires when you leave. So, with life insurance, even though your company may be providing term life coverage, you also want to consider permanent life insurance policies as well. So, there's a couple of permanent policies that I put up here just so you guys can get familiar with the wording: whole life, universal life, and variable universal life. So, those are three different types of permanent insurance that you might want to get along with your term life policy and supplement so that when you are 65 or 70 and you do decide to finally leave the company, you don't have really high rates or it's a bill that you didn't think about having. Maybe you would have paid it off by then, paid off your whole life or your universal life by the time you actually leave your permanent employment or your company. Okay, so I had mentioned before that, the key ones that you want to make sure that you're considering, it's health insurance, your disability insurance, your life insurance, and your paid time off. But the other pieces I have here that are really important, and I'm going to detail on the retirement piece, are any kind of bonus plans. So if you have any type of 401k, profit sharing plan, where the company is doing a match, you want to make sure you're taking advantage of that. So whenever you're reviewing your information, take a look and see if the company offers any kind of match for your 401k. In addition to that, you can have free meals, sometimes use of a company car, sometimes use of a child care facility. So you need to make sure you're looking at, okay, are stock options available? Are there special deals for stock options that the company is offering that you can take advantage of and grow with the company? So there are different benefits that may not be the key ones on your package, but could be very beneficial. So one example of another perk that's not on here that I've had a lot of people come in lately, that the companies are now offering pet care and maybe even an attorney service along with their package. So there are other types of perks as well as you review your paperwork that you want to take advantage of, especially if the company is paying half of it or more. You want to make sure that you take advantage of that and have that savings for you and your family while you're working. All right. And so, as I mentioned, the company holidays, you want to take advantage of that. If most people get the 4th of July off and these different days. Take note of those days and make sure you're planning and using that time off, because a lot of times, as I mentioned before, it's use or lose. If you don't use it, you're not going to get paid for it. You just want to get any benefit from it. So you want to make sure you're taking advantage of that. The other key one here, the second item here is retirement and pension plan contributions. I mentioned before that you want to make sure that you're matching, but you also want to understand your retirement. What is it? Is it a 401k? Is it a pension plan where you're going to get something just regardless, just based on your years of service and your salary? What is that formula? Because a lot of times, if you don't understand the formula, you don't understand what benefits, if it has some kind of age requirement, and a lot of people, when they don't understand it, they don't know how to take advantage of it. So take, for example, if you have a plan that says if you work 30 years and you're 55 years old, you get a full pension. And you didn't read that, so you retired at 52 or 54 and a half. You don't want to end up in that situation. So whenever you have a benefits package and it talks about retirement, you want to make sure you're taking advantage and understanding that full retirement package. Another thing with 401k or packages that are based on the market and are going with the market, you want to see how you're invested. Am I invested moderately, aggressively, conservatively? Because that makes a big difference in how your money is growing over time. And if you don't understand how you're invested, you want to make sure you go back and, take that to somebody who, looks at these kinds of things all the time, just to understand how your money is being invested, because it makes a big difference, and you need to watch that. Another key thing is making sure that you take advantage of any type of tuition assistance. And a lot of times those tuition plans are not only good for you, but they're also good for your children or your family as well. So you could take advantage of that for your family. And then a lot of companies also have discount sites now. So you can get discounts for your personal needs. So going to the dry cleaner, or going to Office Depot or some of these other big companies, they will offer discounts for that the company can offer to you. So you want to make sure you're looking at all of that. And a key one on here is college debt assistance. Because we know the cost of college is what it is, we want to make sure if there's a perk here that they're providing some type of assistance with college, that you take advantage of that. The rest of the items that I have are actually on about retirement, and they're on sheets. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to show it here, but you can go back up to B and I'll try to see if I can do it here. So as I mentioned when I was talking through the last slide, is I wanted to spend a little bit more time on retirement. So some of the key things when you're thinking about retirement is thinking about, as I mentioned, how am I invested? And do I understand the how, if my investments are moderate, conservative, etc. So I brought in a couple of sheets and we can provide them for you later. But one speaks to market volatility. So I'm not sure if I can share it, because I don't know if you'll be able to see it. But if not, I'll be able to provide it to whoever wants it at a later date. But as we consider our market, we want to take a look at, if I can show this, can you see that if I show it in the camera?
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Okay, all right, I don't know if you guys can see that, so I'll talk to you about it. So basically, I provided here a sheet that basically talks about investing. So we know that if you work for a company for 20 years or however long, you want to make sure that you are taking advantage of the pension and you're taking advantage of the compounding of money. So of course you want to do this with your company. So that's one option, of course, taking advantage of a traditional IRA, 401k, etc. However, as you do that, I really want people to focus on what's really happening with my money. Because what I find when people come in and talk about their retirement is they're putting the money back, but they don't really know what's happening. And they really don't think about how much they have in retirement until they get so close to retirement that there's you're moving so aggressively trying to get to wherever that point is. So there's a couple of things that I want people to start to think about, even if you're 20 years old or 30 years old and you're new to your job or whatever, really start to think about and look at, okay, what can I expect from my Social Security, which will be one stream of income once I get ready to retire, and then what at the company have I actually been putting back? Am I taking advantage of the match, and have I been putting back moderately, conservatively, or aggressively? So I have a sheet here that I'm going to, I guess I'll email it or provide to whoever who wants it, that shows the power of time and discipline. So this shows you the power of compounding money over time. So in this particular example, I show a couple of different ages. So somebody who starts at age 22 and another person who starts at age 32. And it just shows how the money will grow over time at an 8% return. So an 8% return is not a bad return, and it's pretty moderate and typical for our U.S. market to grow about 8 to 11% or so. So per year. And so this is a very good example and illustration of how that money can grow over time. So I will leave this and then give it to Pastor Johnny, and maybe whoever wants to look at it can take a look at it. But it just walks through and shows three different investors all coming into the market at different ages and taking advantage of our U.S. market, the way it moves between 8 and 11% on a good year. Now, we might have some times that we're down, but this is, again, the discipline of investing a certain amount of money each month or each quarter, however you're going to invest, and then the value of compounding that money over time and what it can do for your finances. So that's one sheet that I wanted to provide. And then the other one that I want to make sure that folks understand as well is, just as I mentioned, how does our U.S. market really work? So I have a document here called Bull and Bear Market. So when the market is up and doing well, we call that a bull market. And when it's not doing so well and it's at the bottom, we call that a bear market. So if you will, you can't really see this as well, but once you get a chance to look at it, the portions that are in the green, those are the time periods that we're in a bull market. And you'll see that most of the time that's where we are. So typically the bear markets only last about about a year and a half or so. So we're not down as much as we are up. That's why it's very important, especially if you're a younger investor, to take advantage of the bull market and keep your money invested over a period of time. In addition to that, this particular chart also shows your periods of recession that we've had. So that kind of gives you an idea of, how long we are in recession, meaning that how long we are at a time period where we've had 2 quarters or more of downward trends. So it shows that as well. So that's a good thing to take a look at. And then also shows you the rates, the interest rates that the federal government puts out. So this is a really good one that I will leave as well. So that is really the key things that I wanted to make sure I covered for today. And then as a recap for last time, I did bring copies of the personal cash flow worksheet. So I wanted to make sure I pulled that out because I don't think we actually looked at it last time. So basically, if you have an opportunity or want to have a copy of this, basically what it does is gives you an opportunity to fill it out, your money in, your money out, and then just making a log of all your expenses so that you can get a good grasp of the what you're bringing in every month and then what you need to make sure you're saving for as far as your expenses. So that's all I had for today.
Yeah,
I don't know if Pastor did any questions.
You went to the portion where you were talking about matching, and you were talking about it from a personal standpoint, with matching your contributions to your 401k, but also from a church standpoint, aren't there sometimes matching programs, not just to churches, but to any, not all, but a lot of the 501c3s?
Yeah. So a lot of companies will do different match programs. So that is also very important that you take a look at in that benefits package. If it's something there that you can give to that the company will then match you with, then you can basically be really providing a greater benefit to either the 501c3 of your choice or however the company decides to bless another company, I should say. Yeah, absolutely. I see those a lot too.
And that's a great way to increase the impact that you could have through your own giving.
Yep,
so you may not be able to give the exact amount that you want, but you can do something and match it and get closer to it. Then also, I think it would be really cool for those who've already started working and didn't get to look at those benefits. Where would they go to get those?
So if you haven't had a chance to get your benefits package or you got it and you just didn't know what to do with it, a lot of companies now, they'll have it on their company website. You can download it from there, or just go to your HR department and ask them for another copy of it. So I've had a lot of teachers, new teachers now, just getting into the workforce, recent graduates coming in and bringing their benefits packages. And some of it was paper form and some of it we downloaded off of their websites, their school websites. So there's a combination sometimes of pulling it from the website and then also what they give you, because a lot of times they don't give you all of the policy, they give you overviews, but then if we want to really dig in, then we'll go out to the website and print that. And so, so a lot of teachers I've been working with have been doing that recently.
That's excellent. The other one I wrote down was, can you buy, let's say you're with a company, they have some insurance on you, but you want to get private insurance yourself. Could you go through the company and use the access that you have to that company to buy a personal life insurance?
So some companies, they offer that. They even offer spousal insurance. So a lot of times you're working at a company and you have insurance on yourself, but they will offer insurance for your child, for your spouse. And so we always look at that too when my clients come in, and we take advantage of that too, because a lot of times you can get a better rate. And a lot of times you can avoid underwriting too.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about as well, because you could almost be grandfathered in at some level because you've been at that company.
Yes. So sometimes with the term policies, especially because an outside company will most likely have you go through the underwriting process. When you are under that group insurance with your company, they don't ask you. So a lot of times you can get your term insurance there without having to go through the underwriting process. But
now, could you explain underwriting just in case?
So underwriting is when the company will basically make a risk assessment of your health and determine how much you can be covered for insurance or any other product really, but we're talking about insurance specifically. So they will make an assessment of your health and determine, if they're going to cover you for a certain amount of dollars. And if they are going to cover you, if it's going to be at an increased rate or sometimes at a lower rate, depending on what they come back with your health status as.
So it's kind of like Vegas and the odds.
Right. Exactly.
How long we think this joker's going to live? Can
Right.
we do this? All right. And then the last thing I wrote down was this bear in this bull market.
Yes.
The market is going to go through cycles.
Yes.
I love how you pointed out that it's increasing more than it's decreasing.
Yes. Yes.
But at the same token, what could you say to someone who sees these highs and these lows and just says, you know what, it's probably best to just play it safe, put the money under the mattress, and therefore I neither gained nor have I lost?
Well, I would say you've lost because the cost of living goes up anywhere between 2 to 3% a year. So if you say, you know what, I'm just going to save my $100 and then 5 years from now, I'm going to have $100. That's not the case. If you have $100 today, that money is going down, 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 down. And so even though we have to take a risk by putting that money in a bond or putting that money in the market, if you don't take that risk, then you're not even trying to keep up. And there are a lot of investments that you can make that are safer. So nothing is guaranteed, of course, with the market, but there are some safer things that you can do, such as, getting a municipal bond where you're investing in your municipality, your bridges, your school libraries, school buildings that are built. So different things like that that you can invest in and get a lower rate of return, but at least you're keeping up with inflation. And of course, I would recommend for younger people to just actually participate in the market, because with those sheets, as I tried to show, and we'll provide it for you if you need it, it's the market is up more than it's down and grows at about an 8%. So if you want to keep up with the cost of just cost of living, and you have something that's growing 8%, well, you've made a 5% profit. If the market goes up, if your cost of living goes up 3%, but you've grown 8%, you've made a 5% profit. Guess what? Even if the next year you don't make any profit, you might be still carrying over a win. You might be still winning. And that's why it's so important too that you have somebody helping you look at the stuff, because there are people that all they do is watch the trends and watch the market. And so as they're watching the market, they can tell you, hey, Pastor Johnny, okay, last year you made 20%, but this year that's going a little down. Do you want to move that to something more conservative, or do you want to continue with what you're doing, to get the returns when it comes back up? So yeah, definitely important to look at. But remember, if you're holding your money and you have a savings account or a checking account, you're not keeping up with inflation. So you're really losing. You're losing money. Mm-hmm.
Now, for those like me who tend to be time short,
Yeah.
how long does it take to sit down with a professional and actually go through the entire kit and caboodle, looking through the packages,
Yep.
and then actually putting together an assessment and making a plan?
Yep.
Is this time consuming?
No, I mean, so I have different people in different phases of life. So I would say for younger people like yourself, if you spend maybe an hour in your initial meeting, gather everything up, probably maybe 4 hours for the year to really put something together where you have, you started something, you have your recommendations list done, and you're starting to go through that. But you want to commit at least 1 hour to try to start to see, okay, what do I have, and can I start gathering things? So at least 30 minutes to an hour for that initial meeting. And then after that, depending on where you are, I would say at least carve out 2 hours a year to really dig in there and say, okay, what's going on? Because your financial professional, they're going to do a lot of the work on their end that you won't have to be a part of. So once you have your initial consult, they kind of see what's going on. You gather some of that data, and they can be able to start looking, okay, this is invested here. They have this kind of policy, this kind of policy. They'll do a lot of that on their own before they come back to you with recommendations. And so I would say in general, for younger people, you're just now getting started, you're investing in the market, commit maybe 1 to 4 hours for that first getting started. And once you're rolling, maybe 30 minutes to an hour a year until we get close. So now once we start getting close, like my folks who are, you're in your 60s, I have folks older than that. So you're in your 60s, you're a little bit older than that. Let me go. She's just not getting up. You're in your 60s or you're a little bit older, and you want to really get aggressive and looking at some things, I would say let's meet probably 4 hours that month that we first get started, get everything laid out, and then maybe every 3 months after that until you actually retire. Yep. Mm-hmm. So it depends.
Any questions? And I just left my post there. Well, I think that what you shared is awesome. And one of the things that we tried to stress when we did the preview was how you cannot beat compound interest. It is a game changer.
Yep.
And so just a couple of seconds on that as well, because I think sometimes, and even I, when I first started, was like, you know what, I can only put away $15. It's $15. But then, when you look, it was like, oh my Lord, like, like I turned my back and I just kept putting that $15 in, and then you look up and you trying to transfer it into their account, you got something there.
Yes. So that is so key because I hear that so much. Well, I really don't have any money, or all I have is $20. Whenever I get paid, all I have is $20, or all I have is $30. So I always share that with people. It doesn't matter if you just say I only have $1, I only have $2. And guess what? You put that dollar in there, and it's growing at 8%. That's $1.08 next year. And guess what? Then that's $1.08. That's $1.16. And then so it keeps on growing. And another thing that is key that people don't realize is as you start investing, it's almost like a mini drug. Like they'll look at it and say, oh, my dollar did that. Let me put two. Oh, my $2 did that. Let me put three. Because then they start to see the value of the compounding of money. And, we go through these things when we're in school, but nobody ever really showed us. And so we have to, and I have those pictures to see the visual of it. Once you see that visual and you see what can happen over time, $1, $2, $50, whatever you can have to get started with, get started. It gets started. You waste. Trust me.
Yes, we all have
waste money.
I think that's one of the things is, sometimes the idea is I want to start even if I had 10 or 15, but I don't have it. But when you really sit down, that's why the first session was so key, looking at that budget, because once you put it down on paper, you'll find $20 or $30. I mean, even if it's just eating out once a week, you can sit there and say, hey, for this day, I'm going to cook.
Right.
And then you have your $20.
Yes. You have your $20. You can get started and you can see the value of that. And even if it's, you're a married couple or whatever, you guys sit down and think about what are the subscriptions that we have? These magazines we never look at. What's some of these, different things that we're buying and paying for that we just never take advantage of? Or how many times are we rolling through Starbucks or McDonald's or wherever that we can make an adjustment? And it doesn't even have to be every month. It can be every other month. So one month we live like we want to, the next month we live to make our investment. And so it's a mindset. We have to start thinking about, okay, how can I plan for the future? How can I create my own wealth? And you're going to do that by starting with what you have. And so taking a look at what you have and then figuring out, okay, how can I work that? And, I work with people. Some people make, $20,000 a year. Some people make, $80,000, $90,000 a year, but it doesn't really matter. You can begin to invest as you start taking a look at your finances and saying, okay, I'm going to make some sacrifices and make some adjustments so I can take care of, my investments and just trying to create a better life.
And it's there, people. Like one of my daughters went through the budget, my 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And when she started looking through her bank account, she forgot, this subscription, $1.30.
Yep.
$2.30. All of these music subscriptions and apps that you downloaded and that you used to be on and you paid for this and that. And next you know, you have $15 in your hand.
Yep.
Just by going through it. But a lot of the times we subscribe for things. It used to be magazines.
Right.
But now it's all of these.
Spotify.
Yeah, all these different. All these apps and things that we look at on our Roku. You subscribe to it. And then sometimes you do it, and I've done this where you think, I'm going to take this 31 days for free, and then I'll cancel it. But you don't already put your card in there. You get busy, and next you know,
they get you.
Man, they get you. They done run through 2 months, and you short $60.
Exactly.
So you have to. Really, what she's telling you is it's all about being disciplined and paying attention. And a lot of the times we fall asleep at the wheel. And I'm a participant. Yeah. You fall asleep at the wheel and you forget about things, and then that money you can't get it back.
Can't get it back.
So as long as we're paying attention and being disciplined, we can get ahead.
Yeah, and so that's the key thing too. Whenever, because people ask me about, of course, I've been doing, retirement consulting in the financial industry over 20 years now. People always ask me, well, how does this person end up with this much money or this person end up with that much money? Money is about time and discipline. Time and discipline. So if you can discipline yourself, okay, this month Every time I think I'm gonna roll through Starbucks. Nope. Instead, I'm gonna put the money in the jar. I'm gonna put the money in the jar, and then I'm gonna go do something with it. And over time, going back to the compounding, you will see the value of that money. So time and discipline, time and discipline. And I think that's something that we can use in other areas of our life too. When you get serious, then you start to get disciplined, and that's with anything, right? So you start to get disciplined in doing that, and then over time, you see the value of how that discipline works. Even if you're saying, okay, I'm gonna go work out, or I'm gonna go whatever I'm gonna do, that is what kind of pushes you along. Time and discipline, and that's what pushes your finances along as well.
Cool beans.
Mhm.
Now we have with us Sister Tisdale, Sister Miko, and I was wondering if you could join us for a second here, and
Sure.
also about the project that we have uh, that we have going on for these next three sessions.
Up here. Let me-
Oh, you got it. Yeah, there you go. When she
Oh,
starts
she's
speaking.
speaking.
No,
Say something, Miko.
Yes, yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hear you
yes.
now.
Oh, we love
I'm
you.
sorry I'm late to the party. I had some sign-on issues.
Great.
Finally worked. Project, yes. So after we're doing all the budgeting and trying to understand where we are financially, the whole goal is to get to a place where we can start giving back. Setting goals, whether you have something that you're saving for or something that you're working towards, and just getting in that habit of saving, and of course, like I said, giving back. Doesn't matter where you give those dollars, or where you give those funds, or where you give your time, treasure, and talent. We want you to get in a habit of being a blessing to others. So as we go through this process, start thinking about where you want to spend your time and talent. Where can we make a difference in the community, or if it's a church related project, if it's something in your neighborhood, we want to get together, do something that's bigger than who we are, so that we can do good for others. So Thriving is going to support that. Again, it's just not about the budgeting and savings, but it really is about the generosity and setting ourselves up, so that we can continue to achieve our goals, whatever they are.
Mhm.
Yeah, we really want to inspire people. One of the things I love talking to Miko about is that finding joy in investing in others. Can you just talk about that? What it's like to be able to invest in someone other than yourself?
One second, I'm going to turn my volume up a little bit. So you kind of cut out a little bit.
Uh,
Okay, so investing in others.
yes.
What's an easier way to explain that? We were given gifts and talents. That's what God granted us, and it was to be used to do good for others. So I think it's our responsibility to serve others and help individuals that may be less fortunate. Even if a person runs into a situation for that moment in time, it still is our responsibility to step in and help. Um, we know that when we're generous, when we do for others, it still is a way of achieving goals for ourselves, because that's why we were created, to serve others. Um, there are several ways to be being generous. It's not just about donations and money, but again, I mentioned the time, talent, and treasure. So it's your time that you give. If you're passionate about something, which I think we talked a little bit about that our last meeting, is find something that you're passionate about, whether it's a business or you're finding some need that you want to fulfill, is having resources so that you can do that. So we are in such a interesting period in this country, and so we're always looking for ways to do better and serve others. And so what we want to do in support of that is, like I said, pull together and find a way to make an impact in our communities. I don't know what else to add.
No, well said. And I just wanted to make sure I didn't interrupt you, but well said. And thank you for sharing that with us. Look, we do want you to get your financial house in order. That is a must. And a lot of that is going to be you being disciplined and also investing in yourself. But we also want you to keep in mind that your seed, the overflow of the resources that God has given you are not just for yourself, it's for other people.
Yes.
I had to give it all away, but find joy and experience it. Don't find it, experience it by being diligent, being disciplined, by being strategic, intentional, and making sure that you save some and invest in someone else. And I'm telling you, it's going to be joy like you have never felt before. Now, can you close us out, Jana, and tell us about what's going to be on this third session?
Drum roll. So the third session, what we're going to do is talk about small businesses or businesses and talk about some key things and finances that you want to look at when you have a small business or a business that you're running. So that is going to be our topic for next time. And for anyone who wants any of the handouts, let me know, because we do have the handouts from the first time, which is the budgeting spreadsheet. And then from this time, I have two handouts around retirement specifically and the market and investing. And so next time we'll have a couple of handouts as well around business planning, financial planning for your business. So that's going to be our topic for next time. Thank you guys so much.
Can I just add one thing? I would challenge everyone in the class or everyone on the Zoom is when we get back together is bring your ideas or send your ideas to Pastor Johnny, because I would love to hear and see what we're thinking about, how we're thinking about making changes. I mean, we want this to be fun and exciting. We want you to get, excited about serving, getting excited about making a difference. So come the next time we get together with your ideas, project ideas, or where exactly we want to make the impact. Or again, you can send it to Pastor Johnny.